Okay, this is where the burn is, so we're burning now. Just keep an eye on that fuel, which is fine. It's low, very low, but it's fine. Okay, this is a quicker burn. We're coming up on the end of it now. Okay. That's the end of that burn. We're going to return prograde. Go to 10x. And then return to the maneuver mode view. And returning maneuver mode off again. We got a new updated graph. It says 88 megameters we're getting to. And that is close enough to be captured by Mars. So if we go to encounter, you can now see that we will need 3,405 kilometers per second in order to capture. Wow. That's going to be close. It's possible we might need to do an aero braking maneuver. Okay, let's go back. And we're going to go up again. We're going to do one more mid-course correction maneuver. But for now, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000. And I'm going to fix that real quick. Try and get us real still.
Attitude off.
Okay. There we go. Back to 100,000. And let's see if we can find Mars again. There it is. It's looking brighter than ever as we get close to it. Okay, we're getting very close now. So, actually, not quite there yet, but we're going to save again. Okay, we're getting very close now. The sun is still accounting for 100% of the gravity, but Mars is looking very large, you can see there. And here are the Earth and Moon, gray and blue dots. The Moon is a big object. People don't realize that. But it actually accounts for a planet out here. If you look, it's actually brighter than Mercury right now. And it's visible with the Earth there. So I will go ahead and perform the last mid-course correction maneuver. So we're going to repeat the same process. Hello? I don't understand. It's not taking the... What in the world is going on? This may be a glitch on my end. Oh. Wait a minute. There we go. That was the wrong thing. That wasn't the maneuver mode. That was our current state. Okay. There we go. $96, $74, $57, $47, $34, $24, $23. And that's where it's going to bottom out. So we're going to do whatever we need to do now to get us to come very near impacting the surface. And here every meter per second counts. So let's see, it wants to bottom out at about 14.97. So now we're going to work on the plane velocity and see how close we can get on that. Okay, looks like 8 is as close as we can get for now, which is fine. We'll worry about that later. So now we go to the view. And we're going to go ahead and
Rotation.
restore power to the reaction control system and go up to that location. I want to try and align myself as much as I can with this because it's very important. This is a short burn, so I'm using low power. Let's go ahead and realign for the remainder of it. Okay, that's the end of it. And let's see the updated version of the track. So 8 megameters, and there's the surface of Mars. We're coming down that low. We will have to adjust it one more time. Okay, yes, the capture delta is going down, so we should have enough fuel. And that's because Mars is slowing us down, because we're in front of us, or I'm sorry, we're in front of it, so it's going to pull us backwards and slow us down.
Attitude off.
Perform one more quick save. And we're ready now for 100,000 times again. So we'll continue watching Mars. Sooner or later, Phobos and Deimos will become visible, the 2 moons of Mars. They are not yet, but when they are, you will see them as 2 little rocks orbiting Mars, and they will appear along with the planetary labels there. Okay, we're coming very near Mars now. I've reverted to 10,000 times normal time because we're coming up to capture now. So now what's going to happen is when we're coming into Mars, the view will change. It changed from the Earth to this Sun-centered version, then it will change back to the Mars-centered version. And then we shall prepare for approach. Meanwhile, 99%. Uh-oh, what's that? 1% of the gravity is coming from this red rock in space, Mars, which is now visible, along with Phobos and Deimos, as a planet, and not just some star sitting out there. I'm going to save again, because the atmosphere is going to draw soon. We're going to go back to 10,000 for the time being. You can see Phobos and Deimos orbiting Mars. And there it's gone. Excuse me. Okay, so this is where we were when we left off. I think my computer crashed for 2 reasons. Or my computer, but the thing. Also, the thing had changed back, but it's now stopped. It was better earlier. Doesn't look like the atmosphere drew yet. But it apparently had problems with this. Minimum altitude is coming down. Capture delta should be just fine, although I'm going to check that against the orbital velocity of Mars. So go ahead and quick save. And we're going to go back to 1,000 times. 95%, 5% of the gravity is coming from Mars. And there's not much time left in this cruising phase. So I've gone back to 1,000. We're not going to go back to 10,000 again. So we're going to adjust this altitude lower when we get to going to adjust this altitude when Mars accounts for more than 50% of the total gravitational field. Phobos and Deimos are literally rocks in space, so I'm not even going to consider them as giving any gravity, because they won't. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, because the atmosphere is going to draw, I'm going to pause the video so that my computer hopefully won't crash, and we'll come back as soon as the atmosphere draws. Okay, so the atmosphere has not drawn yet, but we need to take care of something first, and that is the changeover from sun gravity to Martian gravity. And then we're going to perform this last maneuver here. Okay, Mars is giving us more gravity than is the sun. So we're going to address that now. So going back between 10x and 1x. And there we are. So now what I'm going to do...
Row translation.
Let's go into translation, and I'm going to use a little bit of the energy here to kick off to get this to drop. Okay, that's not going to work.
Rotation.
I am going to turn retrograde. So now I'm burning to bring this altitude down. That will also lower the amount of capture delta that we need to do. Wow, it takes a lot. Inclination is 32.5, which is good. We won't be going into a retrograde orbit, which I hate. Okay, this is taking too long. I need to figure out a new direction to burn that's going to decrease that faster. So we'll try burning at 270 outward. Let's see what that does. Ah, that's lowering it. There we go. I'm going to bring us in low because I want some of the atmosphere to help in slowing us down. And since I can't accelerate because the autopilot glitches out like this, we're going to go back to 1,000 times. So now I'm going to tell you a little bit about the atmosphere of Mars. So, as heard on NASA's EDL video, 7 Minutes of Terror for Curiosity, the engineer says Mars has, now going back to 100 times because it's beginning to get very close, Mars has just enough gravity, just enough atmosphere that you have to worry about it, or else it's going to burn up your spacecraft. But then on the other hand, Mars doesn't have enough atmosphere to finish the job. So we can fly in Mars, but we can't land. So the thing about Mars is going to be very interesting. We are going to fly like an airplane, and then we're going to have to do a VTOL, sort of like a Harrier jump jet does. So you can now see the atmosphere on Mars is drawn, and very soon we'll be able to see, oh my god, there it goes again, the various craters and such. So we're going to now prepare for the capture. I need to make sure, yes, we have enough fuel for the capture. Okay, I'm going to pause the video now and figure out how much I need to burn, when I need to burn. Okay, we're on 10x now. We're getting very close to the surface of Mars. I am very good at Martian geography. Watch this. That's Valles Marineris. That's Crissi Plantina. Oh, and watch this. I'm sorry, but this is going to be too cool. Okay, so we go out again. And then we have... That is Therasis. That is Arcea Mons. That's Pavonis Mons. And that's Ascraeus Mons. Check that out. Ascraeus Mons, Pavonis Mons, and Arcea Mons. Let's see if we can find Valley of the Lost Beagle. That's very interesting. There it is, Valles Marineris, written right there. And somewhere on there it should say Crissi Plantina. But this is exciting, because this is my most favorite side of Mars. I like the side with Therasis and whatchamacallit, the western hemisphere of Mars, Valles Marineris, and don't like as much the other side of Mars, which is Hellas and what's the volcano on the other side? Elysium Mons. Okay, so Mars is pulling us in. We're at 5,000 kilometers per second now, and I need to do that calculation now. Back to 10x. Again, another great thing about this MFD is it will tell us what the periapsis velocity will be when we get down there at the bottom. So as it turns out, we need 2,620 meters per second of velocity to kill. We have the ability to use 2,763 meters per second of delta V. So we're going to come so close to running out. I'm actually going to go ahead and decrease our minimum altitude. Let's open the retro doors. Let me consult my atmospheric graph of Mars real quick. Okay, so Mars has a very shallow atmosphere, so we need to continue burning all the way down, and we're going to waste a little bit of fuel doing this. It's about 20 kilometers. That should be far enough to aerobrake. So we're going to turn prograde again. Back to 10x. Ooh, here comes the high res. Valles Marineris in all its glory. Oh. That's fantastic. The amount of money that we pay to get these pictures is all worth it. Okay, 500 kilometers. See if I can get this to there's a way to change the view. I almost missed that. There's a way to change... Ah, there it is. There we go, focus. And now you can see the line passes through the atmosphere. I do not have the Aerobrake mod active right now. And there's a map of Mars that we can see right there. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that. We need to address the surface. On Mars, Mars is red, so red doesn't work. And the atmosphere is a different color as well. I choose blue as my Mars HUD display. We need to address the atmosphere coming up. Actually, so what I'm going to do... Yeah, we'll go ahead and stick it with that. So what I'm going to do is try to aerobrake. If we can't get down to as little speed as I want, then we'll just do the remaining retro stuff on the other side. Because we can never slow down properly, I'm going to go ahead and open the air brake now. We're going to close the retro doors now as well. And we're going to close the radiator. So Mars has a taller atmosphere than the Earth, which means it comes further up on the surface. As you can see how far out from the surface the haze comes. This is a really cool view. Does it say Margaritiffer Chaos? Interesting.
Radiator retracted.
Okay. Alright, let's just give a look. Okay, we're all set. So, anyway, as I was saying, Mars has a pitch up to the 85 degrees angle of attack. Mars has a taller atmosphere than the Earth, but it's a lot less dense. So you have to go further down to get any reasonable amount of drag force. We're very close to the surface now, only about 133 kilometers up. And because we're trying to capture, we're going to go back to Transx and keep an eye. Ah, it's finally fixed. It's given us the color of Mars, and then you can see its atmosphere there. We passed through the atmosphere. Let's keep an eye on the minimum altitude there, which is going to be very important. Okay, here it comes. Turning pitch on again, because there is atmosphere, and I'm going to full elevator trim up. And hopefully, the thing will be strong enough to resist the issues of the atmosphere, so that we don't bounce out. Okay, interface will be coming very soon. So I actually have the minimum altitude low for a reason, and that's because we normally have problems with this thing actually slowing it down properly. So you should see, yes, we're slowing down now. Our capture delta is decreasing. Oh no, no, no. Ugh. Now we've lost it. Okay, so what we can do is try and cut through the atmosphere like we did last time. Just try and prevent ourselves from jumping like that. And we're slowing down. You can hear it now. And look, the sky is lighting up with the color of the Martian atmosphere. Go ahead and release elevator trim. Okay, we're going to come out of the atmosphere now if we're not careful. Oh, come on now. Don't do this to me. Okay, we need to do whatever we can getting out of the atmosphere. I'm trying to cut through it as best as I can. There we go. I have stabilized it. We're good now. We can control it now as we see fit until we're ready to leave the atmosphere. So this will work now. So here we are close to the 20 kilometers targeted altitude. Okay, we do not want to fly out of the atmosphere. Do not want to fly out of the atmosphere. I shall not fly out of the atmosphere yet. I shall not fly out of the atmosphere yet. I shall not fly out of the atmosphere yet. Okay, good. Saved us. Okay. So we're gonna go full elevator pitch down now. I'm having fun doing this, aren't you? Right, here comes the capture. Watch the orbit now. There, it's done it. We've aerocaptured. We've aerocaptured on Mars. We're done with Transx now. And we're finished with it. Because we've captured. So now it's just the orbit that we have left to get down. We're about 70,000 feet above the surface of Mars, going at about 10,000 miles per hour. Oh my God! The hover engines are on. The only way that would have happened is by an accidental key press. Okay, we're getting towards the end of Aerocapture. I'm going to purposely fly out of the atmosphere now. So I'm going to release elevator trim now. Have enough atmospherics now.
Attitude off.
We could theoretically fly by AF control.
Rotation.
But we're going to fly back out of the atmosphere again soon, so we shan't do that yet. Yeah, I would like to get a little bit more braking out of the atmosphere before I leave it. Notice how I can control the orbit by pitching the nose down and up. Let's go back to distance. We're going to be in LMO, low Martian orbit. And now we close the air brake. And hopefully we'll stop decelerating. Turn the AF control surfaces off. We're leaving the atmosphere. And we're going to go back to 10x to avoid making the tutorial too long. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a perfect aerobraking maneuver. We came in with high velocity, enough to escape the surface and then some. We saved all this fuel. We didn't use a drop of fuel other than the fuel that I used to pitch us into the atmosphere. And look, the orbit is now low. In fact, we're going to impact the surface here. But we actually have enough fuel to go for a base, which exists on the surface of Mars in this, and that is by the name of Olympus. And I believe it's near Therasis, Olympus Mons, which is the tallest volcano on Mars. So we're now going to turn prograde again. And we're in Martian orbit again, low Martian orbit. And here's a great thing. Because Mars rotates, we have the same situation we had on the moon. But because Mars rotates 25 hours a day, or is it 23? One of the two, we get the same westward tracking that we get on the Earth, which means we don't have to do a thing. We can just wait in orbit for our plane to pass, over Olympus. 100x. So now what I'm going to do, we're on the nighttime side of Mars. We're going to be over Hellas and Elysium Mons. In fact, we're probably over Elysium Mons right now. Yeah, Utopia. That's very near Elysium. Well, I don't want to spend all time looking for it, but I know it's on this side of the planet. Okay, so we're going to go back to 100x. So what we're waiting now is for the top here. I think this is apomere or something like that. But the apoapsis of Mars. So now what we're going to do, we actually need to add velocity to keep from going into the surface. It's just a little bit. And it's the small little price you have to pay for aerobraking. It's great, really, how aerobraking works. So we're going to burn now just up to 120 kilometers to prevent us from going into Mars. And there we go. That's it. See, we still have plenty of fuel left. And that took hardly anything. So now it's just a waiting game. I'm going off of prograde, and we're going to go to 100x. We're going to make a low pass through the atmosphere and just make sure that nothing goes wrong. And we're going to open the radiator.
Radiator deployed.
Okay. So we're going to go for the low pass and see what happens. If nothing happens, sunrise on Mars, everyone. If nothing happens, then we'll be okay to go for 1,000 times acceleration. Okay, there is a bit of atmosphere. Nothing too bad. Okay, that was not bad at all. So we don't need to be concerned with it. This is fantastic. This is why I love Orbiter. Okay, let's keep an eye on where our orbit is. Now we can go 1,000 times the normal rate. and then slow it down for 100 through the atmospheric passes just because I'm nervous. The orbit will decay over time, but that's okay. Oh, nice. Where's this? That looks, this looks a lot like, the, yes, Herculaneum. And Pompeii, yeah. So this is back near the Valles Marineris side again. And it looks like, yes, it will be daytime when we land at Olympus, which is great. Oh, and by the way, just like in real life, not from here, but on the ground, the sunsets on Mars are blue. And we'll end the tutorial with a sunset on Mars. So we're going to go back to 1,000. Atmospheric pass, slow to 100. Next orbit should pass us over Olympus. That is so cool. Okay, 1,000. Okay, low pass through the atmosphere again. This is such a cool cyclic view. I don't know how it's kept doing this. But showcasing video of Mars, people. Enjoy it. Now, is it the next orbit? Yes, it appears that it's the next orbit, which means we need to do a plane change now. And this is the descending node, which means we need to do orbit minus. It's just like on the Earth. Orbital mechanics can be applied to any planet. There we go. And now we burn to increase the inclination. And it's not much, because Mars is somewhere between the size of the Moon and the size of the Earth. Meanwhile, we'll just keep burning, keep an eye on where that ground track is going. Also keep an eye on our fuel. One thing we have to be careful of is Mars is a lot larger, which means we need a lot more hover engine power to land. But worst case scenario, we just land at 1,800 miles per hour. It's not like anything bad's going to happen from that. Done. And now we need to deorbit. So we're going to go retrograde again. I'm not going to bother with any calculations on this. Okay, we'll let that go for a little bit, going back to 100 times the normal rate. Okay, we're approaching Olympus. I am going to turn retrograde now and finish this burn off. Oops. Okay, that should be close enough. we still have lots of power from our scram engines available if we need it. We'll just pretend that Mars can make our scram engines work. Okay, going back to 100 times the normal rate. When we drop below 120 kilometers, which is there, we're going to close the radiator. We're also going to set up the radios. Spaceport Olympus Mons. Okay, so we have 114. Whoops.
Radiator retracted.
20. And the pad is 129.70. In case you don't know, this is a fictional base like Brighton Beach. It doesn't exist in real life, but maybe if we're lucky, one day it will. I'm going to continue on 10x. We're done with the orbit, so we're going to go to the surface, and here comes the atmosphere. So I'm going to turn to that. Let's check the inside, looks good. Let's check the outside. And that's good as well. So the re-entry is easy on Mars because Mars has a right, so actually what I'm going to do here is I don't want to re-enter too quickly. So I'm going to extend this track a little bit. There we go. So like I said earlier, the Martian atmosphere is easy to re-enter in because it's not thick and we're not moving that fast. So we don't need to be concerned with heating for the most part. Let's keep an eye on the map, see where we are. We're just going to drift over the top of the atmosphere for a little bit, and then we're going to put it down when we're ready. We're going to be fighting the atmosphere here from orbital decay, but at some point we want to re-enter. And I think we're almost ready now. So going back between 1x and 10x, just dealing with this thing. Okay, I think we're ready now. So we're going to turn to cut the atmosphere. Whoa, shoot, not the
Radiator
radiator.
retracted.
We're going to open the retro doors, and we're going to burn down now. Like the opposite we burned up, we're going to burn down now. Let's keep an eye on our fuel. Still okay. Okay. Should be all right now. Give it a little bit more time there. Okay, we're starting to re-enter now. So this is interface. So you need to be careful not to bounce out. Let's go ahead and do the cut thing. Okay, and we're being slowed down, which means we will slowly fall. We're looking at a good approach so far. Good approach profile. I'm actually feeling really good about this. Oh my gosh, what happened? So that was a time glitch. I don't like using time acceleration in an atmosphere because of that. What just happened? But I don't want the video going too long. Oh no, not the bounce. That better not have been the bounce of death. That's actually a good name for it. The bounce of death. Oh, okay, we're good. We're good. Okay, Olympus is in view. We're going to slice the atmosphere now. So this is a nominal Martian re-entry. Let's go to VOR VTOL. I'm going to open the retro brake now. And we're going to fly down into the atmosphere to try and get it to slow us down now. That is the base down there. We're going to pass it and come around. Okay, here it comes. So this is a Martian re-entry now. One of the problems with Mars is the turning radius is very large, so it might take a while to get back to the base. But we are slowly but surely turning the vector around, which is good. We need to keep an eye on our altitude because we're approaching flight speed and dropout. So I'm actually going to turn off the aero brake right now. We're coming around now. We're at about 12,000 feet of altitude.
You are cleared to land.
Right now, here's where we have to look out. Just under about 3 kilometers now. And we're gonna slow down to flight speed soon.
Attitude off.
We want as much power as we can get. I was gonna say we're in the atmosphere now, we can turn it off, but we need turning power right now. Okay, so here's re-entry dropout. Keep an eye on our fuel. It's okay. Okay, now the base should be somewhere down here. Okay, I see the base. It's there up ahead. So we're going to go back to the map again. Okay. Finally getting around to it now. So let's see what happens if we try to use our scram engines. A little bit. Hey, we're actually maintaining speed. Okay, so this is atmospheric flight on Mars.
Attitude off.
When you fly on Mars, you fly at a very quick, almost 1,200 miles per hour. So now what needs to happen, once we get pulled around to the base, is that we actually have to slow down. And we need to slow down using the retro engines. So I'm going to open those right now. Oh, those are open now. Okay. So we're going to level the horizon right now. And we're going to begin slowing down. We're going to start adding hover power. Slowing down at Mars is quite difficult because of how this works. So I may have to try and turn around as I can. You can now hear the sounds of Mars.
2,500.
Here we go again. Swinging around the surface. I'm not too happy at my fuel situation. But we're just going to have to stop and go back.
Rotation.
Aha! We can get around now. Now to be careful that we don't induce a spin. That's a very dangerous risk. Oh dear, we're getting close. Okay, so we're going to stop above the surface now. Going to increase a little bit more power here of hover engines. Okay, there we go. our flight vector around. Oh my god, we're going to run out of fuel. Not a good place to run out. However, I did say that if we ran out, we could get more because of the situation. So anyway, the situation being that the Delta glider was intended to be taken as far as the moon. That's a fact. The Mars flight is not meant for this version of the Delta glider. If you wouldn't do the Mars flight, then instead you'd be doing the one that doesn't have, and maybe I should have considered this at the beginning, perhaps I should have taken the one without the scramjets, which are still on. Yeah. Okay. Huh. Interesting thought. Okay, so here's what happened. I left the computer, and I didn't realize that I hadn't paused it. So, I kind of just ran out of fuel and smacked against the floor of the surface or something.
Ignition sequence has started.
No problem,
6,
though.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have commit and we have liftoff.
That makes things easy, at least. We'll be able to finish quicker. Let's go ahead and enter hover hold altimeter, and let's go ahead and find the base, and we're going to rotate over towards it. There it is. Now, what makes this a little bit more complicated than with the moon is that we don't have the ability to turn around as much, because the moon is airless and Mars isn't, so it's a little bit difficult to turn around when the time comes. There's also atmospheric drag involved and stuff. Okay, so we're just gonna like drift over to the pad now. I know this tutorial is getting long, so I'm gonna pause the video until we get close. Yeah. Okay, we're getting close now, so I'm gonna begin slowing down. We were moving across the surface at about 400 miles per hour. I'm beginning to kill that off now. There comes the sound again. We're doing all right on fuel. So aside from that one mistake of leaving the computer and forgetting to pause it, everything was just fine. This is a perfectly legit
Translation.
thing. Everything about the flight was to be expected and desired, which is good. So I've done it correctly, which is great. And so even though we're above the surface only a little bit, Mars is a very thin atmosphere. We only have 604 Pascal pressure compared with 101,000 pascals on the Earth. So this is less than 1/100th of the atmosphere that you feel on the Earth. We're going to close the retro doors now. So we're in translation now, so what I'm doing is I'm moving the velocity vector around so that we can center on the pad. Because it's going to take a while, we're going to go into 10x again.
100.
Oh, that's probably not a good idea, because of the autopilot thing. Meanwhile, we'll take the time to put the gear down. So here comes the landing gear.
Gear down.
Right, as she said. The gear is down! It's down! Okay, that's good enough. We're gonna kill all horizontal velocity. Okay, that's done it. We're gonna come off hover hold now. And now this is an interesting way that I'm gonna do it, as long as we're not changing, yeah, we are coming down a little bit, which is okay. Okay, so we're gonna come down towards the surface now. Where's the shadow? There it is. Preparing for touchdown on Mars.
$50. 40. 30.
We're off center, but that's okay. The pad's big
20.
enough.
$10.
Okay, we're gonna slow to impact velocity. Uh-oh. So apparently we're translating again. I'm not exactly sure how we started translating, but we were. There we go. So that's touchdown on Mars.
Rope.
Attitude off.
So let's go ahead and shut down. Wrong one. There we go. Okay, so aside from the fuel cheat that we had to do, because the spacecraft wasn't designed for this, we made it to Mars. It's very quiet because the atmosphere is so thin. If I pan around, this is what the sun looks like from Mars. Earth is going to be up there as well, but the atmosphere is too thick, and that's actually below the horizon anyway. The atmosphere is too thick to see, right, the surface isn't supposed to be opaque. I'm not sure what that was about. Or was I... Oh yeah, I was looking up and I thought I was looking down. Yeah, that would do it. So this has been tutorial 15. And because I can't find anything else of interest, we're going to go ahead and end it by opening up the nose cone and the outer door.
Nose cone open.
I dare not open the inner door. There's poisonous, there's dust, and there's also,
Outer door open. Ladder deployed.
there's also decompression danger. Oh my god, it's another one of my ships. Okay. Now this one, if you look, is different, is the same as mine in every way except one. If you look at the back, there's no scram jets. Mine has scram jets. So if we wanted to make it here without needing to change and magically get more fuel, then we would have used this one. Right, so we're gonna end the episode off by what's still on? Ah, it's the scramjets. Oh well, I forgot to turn them off. So we're gonna go ahead and end this by watching a sunset from Mars. This part of the tutorials. Next time we will start. There's actually Venus. Next time we will go ahead and start. What is it called? With the XR2. We're finished with this foul machine as we gaze off into the sunset on Mars, and I am so excited that we are moving on to the XR2 Raven Star. Ooh, nightlights. So this has been Dr. Aeronautics, and I will see you guys next time for the XR2. Bye.